Bigfoot's favorite foods? Goldfish and flowers. Because, I don't know, why not? It's a movie. Jamie, let's go watch Harry and the Hendersons.
Welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies.
Is it another episode or is it a very special episode?
It's an on-location episode.
That's right.
Which doesn't happen often. For our listeners, I think they should know. Typically.
By not often, you mean never.
Typically, Doug and I don't we aren't together physically, geographically. No. When we record these podcasts. And on this lovely occasion...
So you get to see stupid things like this that I'm doing now because you're sitting here.
Exactly, the talent.
Normally this is away from Skype. And I'm like, my beer is precariously perched. How much can I fill this up? Right.
Well, here we are. We're on location in a stuga, right?
We are in a stuga. We're not in Sweden.
No, we're not. We're in a stuga in Oregon, though.
In
our
Oregon.
Listeners need to know.
Yes.
And I think they do.
In the Pacific Northwest.
That's right. That's right.
In the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
If you do hear back noise, that's not the sound of traffic. That's the sound of a stream.
That's right.
And you really shouldn't hear anything else.
No, a bird chirping here and there?
Our phones aren't going to alert us for text messages because there's no Wi-Fi. There's no internet access. Here. We can't call anybody.
No, we are in the wilderness. Now, what would make us come out to the wilderness just to podcast, you wonder? What movie could draw us to a location, remote, and in the trees and nestled within the woodland creatures?
I mean, 3,000 miles from where we live.
Right. Far, far away from our homes. Not for me, but maybe for you.
About 3. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's average that out to 3. We are on location to, I guess, Sasquatch hunt.
Yeah! Finding the Bigfoot. Looking for the old sassy.
Mm-hmm.
Trekking through the woods to see if the tales of the forest are true.
Mm-hmm. We thought about recording while walking through the mountains.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Hunting for Sasquatch, but we figured that was way too difficult.
We're not that
The laptop battery would die.
Yeah.
I don't know how we would even do that. So we're just sitting, though. But still, in the woods.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like, that's the idea that we're doing this is nuts. The idea that we're ignoring our spouses to do this when we're on vacation is even better.
It's a delight. I think they're secretly both very happy about
it. My wife's sitting over there pretending not to listen, or trying not to listen. This is
fun because
now it's one track.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be able to cut out my constant sniffs.
Oh.
Or your jangling of.
I removed the jangles.
You removed your jewelry. Okay.
You don't jangle in the woods.
It's a single track, so this is going to be rough, guys. Oh. Get ready for it.
All right.
All the burps and the snores.
Snores.
Snorts.
Yeah. Unless one of us is narcoleptic. Narcoleptic.
It would be narcoleptic if we fell asleep in the middle of a podcast. And the other person just didn't wake them up. I'm like, you know what? They need the rest.
They look so restful.
It's been a long trip so far.
Yeah.
Portland was something. That's why we're so sleepy.
Yeah. Wow.
But anyway, we're away from the city. We're away from civilization. We are on a hunt for a human-ish monster who roams the woods.
He's not a monster. He's very, very kind, actually. Very... Very sweet.
Well, they're going to be good monsters, you know, like those old Universal monsters. Like, most of them just were
He's a creature.
He's a creature. Yeah. That's right, yes. Yeah. Aren't we all creatures, though? Wow, this is a really roundabout way to say that we watched Harry and the Hendersons.
We did.
And that's what we're going to talk about. And, I don't know, after we chose this, like, I kept thinking of other movies, like woodsy movies.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, Harry and the Hendersons took place in Washington.
True. It was a
close enough
area.
to Oregon. But I think Rambo or First Blood took place in Oregon. I think he was in the woods of Oregon.
I'm glad we took a different tail, though. I'm glad we didn't go Rambo for
You know
this.
what? We will.
But
we will
how you feel about that.
Right, and
All
we
right.
will see Sly Stallone soon enough.
Oh, sure.
We
sure.
have him coming up in a few months.
He's slated. He's on the slate.
And I think we also are going to see him again in the spring. So get excited, viewers.
Yeah. You might not know about Sly now, but on the other hand, there's a mighty fine actor in this movie.
Well, yeah, the prolific actor John Lithgow.
Yes.
And I think I've been saving this little tidbit
It's Jim.
to whether we, got to Harry and the Hendersons first or The Predator.
Mm-hmm.
My mom went to school,
With
high
John
school.
Lithgow?
No.
Oh.
He's not in Predator.
Oh, sorry.
Went to school with the guy who played Harry.
Really?
Yep, the guy in the
With
suit.
the Sasquatch man?
Mm-hmm. And he was also the
Oh.
Predator in the Predator movie.
Did he have gentle eyes when she went to school with
Don't
him?
know. He was a very large man.
Okay.
And she said it was funny. He was so tall, they made him, basically through peer pressure, be on the basketball team.
Oh, was he
but he
any
was
good?
super uncoordinated and terrible. But yeah, he was like over 7 feet tall.
Wow.
In high school, in 10th
So
grade.
meant for these sort of things.
Exactly, yes. He died young, though, of AIDS.
Oh, that's of AIDS.
Yeah. I think I'm getting that right. We don't have the internet, so I can't do that research. But I'm pretty sure that's what it was, yeah.
Oh, wow. R.I.P.
Sorry to bring it down.
That's okay.
Right at the top,
Right
too.
at the. You know what? We can only go up from here.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So it is Harry and the Hendersons from 87.
Right.
I think we got to get away from movies from 87. We've been really
We're heavy in
in
87.
this 87. Yes.
All right, well, we're not getting away from it tonight.
No. We are talking about it, and so strap in, listeners. Get ready
Here we
to
go.
revisit your childhood if you watched this a lot as a kid, which I did.
I definitely did.
You did. Okay.
We
All right.
definitely did. I mean me and all my members of my family.
So I don't think of George. I don't think of John Lithgow as a big hunter in real life.
Oh,
I think
no.
that was one of the weird things about this was like,
Yes and no. That's not his occupation. Right?
no. It's just for his occupation is to work at his dad's sporting goods store.
But we do find out that he's like a true artist at heart, right? Because he
Oh,
draws
he
these
is.
pictures
Oh.
of Sasquatch, and there's some issues that come up between he and his father because his father never supported his art career.
That's a weird little side
that is quite
plot
the
that's
segue
just
that
sprinkled in
happens,
there.
yeah.
Because his dad's played by M. Emmett Walsh, who's like,
Yeah.
"Hey George, do you still play with the?" This is my M. Emmett Walsh,
That's
which
good.
is
It's
really
good.
good. Yeah, but he talks about how do you still play around with markers
Yeah.
and pencils? But he has a whole drafting room, he has a whole art
It's his
studio in
hobby
his
now.
house.
It's his hobby.
Yes,
Yeah.
but he also has another hobby, which is shooting animals in the face
Oh.
and then stuffing
Oh, yeah,
them.
he does. He does. Yeah, you're right. I forgot that because then they have all the animals hanging around the house.
How could you forget that? That's such a big part of
Well, I
why
didn't-
Harry flips his lid.
I know, but I didn't put that together with that it was George. Now, George is his character, right?
George is
He's
the
got
father.
this nice little family.
Mhm.
George, Sarah is the typical teenage daughter.
Sarah's the daughter who wants none of this monster running around her house.
It's stinky. It's in her
Yep.
way. It eats her corsage at a certain point.
Yeah,
Ernie is the son's name.
that kid. I don't like that kid.
Who's the actor from Honey? Rick Moranis. Don't you think he's like a little Rick Moranis?
He looks like Rick Moranis'
The son. Yeah.
in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He's just this little nerdy doofus.
With the glasses.
Right,
and
right.
Yeah.
Who's precocious, of course.
But definitely into kill him, Dad, get him,
Right.
shoot him. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
And then there's just the mom.
Oh,
who's-
she's so sweet.
She's sweet. She's like a mixture of Dee Wallace from Secret Admirer, but with the mom from A Christmas Story.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she's always laughing at things and always
she's just calm, kind of calm, even though she's neurotic about certain
Right.
things.
yes.
She has a little hippie vibe to her, I guess, at times. She wears, at one point she has, a little apron on in the forest. Did you notice that? When they're...
No.
No?
She's wearing an apron?
Well, it's the way she layers her skirt and stuff. It's she's got a little... a fanny pack. And
Well, they
an
were going
apron
to
and
cook up that squirrel or whatever the kid
Yes.
shot.
Yeah, well, so they're camping, right? The
Right.
movie
They're
opens
camping
and
at the
they're camping
beginning,
at the
yes.
beginning. They've gone on a trip, And there's lots of great shots in the beginning here of all. There's every animal you can imagine. There's a mountain lion, there's a bear, there's a possum, there's a squirrel, there's a beaver. All of this, like, we know we're out there in nature, right?
Yeah, they want to let you know where these people are, even though there's long shots of just wilderness. So you forest. Get it. Yeah. But I guess they want you to understand that, this is a very hippy-dippy, nature-loving, animal-respecting movie.
Right.
When it gets down, and it's a good movie to watch as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that I have my nature love and respect for animals and everything from Harry and the Hendersons, but I'm sure it didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. It helped you embrace some of that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, they're on their way back from this camping trip. I guess it's something they do quite a bit.
Did you notice that there was a song... sorry, I didn't mean to...
No, go ahead.
There was a song that was written especially for the movie. It came up in the titles, and it's called Love Lives On.
No.
Yeah. It says how the Harry... the design of Harry, the costume, was designed by... And Love Lives On was a song written especially for...
Is it an instrumental, or are there lyrics?
No, I think it's instrumental.
Oh,
which sort of makes sense.
Because I got to tell you, I've not done any research for whatever song I'm going to play at the end, but I was hoping that Harry and the Hendersons had a theme song buried somewhere where it's like, Harry and the Hendersons, but that doesn't happen.
Wasn't it a cartoon for a little bit?
No, it was a show.
Oh, so
it
maybe
was a legit show.
That's right.
Well, I don't know if I want to play the theme. Oh, okay, I have to find the theme song
for the show.
Maybe I'll put that.
All right.
But I can't imagine that has lyrics.
Why wouldn't it? Harry and the Hendersons.
I don't think that's the vibe.
They're a family.
Well, and that's the thing. I kind of want to now watch the TV show.
I don't really remember that. I remember that
I've never. I don't think I ever watched it, but I kind of want to watch it because I want to see how did they intend to make an entire television show out of this? Well, does he go back and then live with them as a member of their family?
Well,
I mean, that would make more sense than them living with him in the woods.
Well, maybe they take a lot more camping trips as a family.
Each episode, they just show up to camp, and Harry just appears.
No, there's
different misadventures.
There's a section of time, though, when he's staying with them at the house, when they're not sure what they want to do with him. But I could see that maybe being a bit of a stretch, but they could make that work for, like...
Well, like I had said to you off mic, this movie could have taken a very different turn had the plot been that he is trying to trick everybody into thinking that Harry is a normal human.
Oh, right,
so he just shaves him. And
shaves him down, dresses him up,
puts clothes on him, and just walks him around. I'm not saying that would be a better movie, but it would be a way different movie, and maybe not a bad idea. And I'm not saying that's what the TV show is, but it's what it should be.
Yeah, all right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Harry realizes that he doesn't want to live in the woods anymore.
And he
loves civilization.
And he imparts some of his love of nature and other woodland creatures onto the civilizations.
Right.
I assume he wouldn't stand for... Maybe he would inspire George to quit his sporting goods job and become an artist.
Inspire him? Through his words?
Through his antics. Through his little goofy, fun-loving... Those sweet eyes
They'll
on that
melt
Harry.
your heart.
I think so. I was melted a few times. Look at that sweet beast.
Yeah, I do have to say, the suit was really great, because, the facial expressions with his eyebrows and everything. Yeah, it wasn't just a dead face. It was, the smiling, the giant, goofy teeth that had big
he did
gaps
have,
in them.
Big teeth. Yeah, big old grin.
But anyway. We're not even into this movie.
Nope,
but
that's
I think we know what happens. So they're driving home.
Yep.
John Lithgow, George, for whatever reason, is not wearing his sunglasses. Why is he wearing his sunglasses?
Oh, yeah.
I think his wife even says something like, put on your sunglasses. And he's just squinting and driving. Yeah. And...
But it must be a place they camp at often, because when she's like, slow down, he's like, I know these roads like the back of my hand.
Right.
So
yes.
He's a little arrogant. She's like, oh, you didn't bring your rifle. This is a big rifle, and it's in a case. I don't know how she missed it.
It's just right there. It's stacked on top of everything else in the back of the car.
I'm like, how did you not see it? What's her name? Elaine? What is her name?
Oh, I don't know. Nancy.
Yeah, because he's like, come on, Nan.
Yeah. Which then made me think, is that the arc of this movie? Is that he has a problem? He can't not hunt? It seems like do not bring your gun on this trip. This is one trip where you're going to spend it with your family.
Right.
Keep that gun at home. Like, I think he might have a hunting addiction.
Maybe. Well, that's it. Harry breaks some of this.
Right. So he runs over a Sasquatch who he just assumes it's a bear because it's big and it's crazy, but it looks at the car and screams. So you see this human-like face yelling, and then he hits it and it goes over
flips,
the car.
And it gives a nice dent to his station wagon, right? I like Nancy says, what could it be? Could it be a gorilla?
This is a woman that lives in the Pacific Northwest. And they have been camping many times. And she's assuming perhaps they ran over a gorilla.
It was hairy, so I guess I could see. Nonetheless, she doesn't want it to suffer. He's kind of like...
Right. Get the gun.
What do you do?
Right. Give me my gun. And then he's going to go out and, I guess, put this thing out of its misery if it's still alive.
Yeah. But when he approaches it, that's when he sees it has hands like a man.
Exactly.
Like
or like a gorilla.
Or like the gorilla that she claims might have been. Yeah. It's also very smelly. Right?
Well,
as soon as they walk up to it, it's got a pungent odor.
The sister talks about that. That's the only line that this girl has is how stinky this thing is. That's all she ever says.
She does have a nice when they get him back to the house and she has
when they're in the kitchen, it's really,
that's really good.
That's what she's got going. He straps it to the top of the car.
Why did they decide to take it with them? Because he does realize, he realizes that it's big. Nobody in this movie ever goes, I'm not so sure that that's... No, everybody's convinced it's Bigfoot. This is what it would be.
That's what it is. Not like, this is perhaps a strange man that's been living in the woods or something.
Oh, well, but it's huge.
I understand that.
It's really not that. But there's no question, is what you're saying.
Exactly, yes. It's like catching a big fish and being like, I'm pretty sure it's a Loch Ness Monster. Everybody going, yep, you're right. I have no doubt about that.
It was in the sea. It's very large. Clearly, that's what it would be. Yeah.
So they strap it to the top of their car, the roof of their car.
I love how they lifted it. They shimmy it up there. They've got a string. They've got the tree barks.
And they drive all the way home. I want to see reaction shots.
They tarp it. They put a tarp over it so that you really don't know it's just a big lump of stuff, right?
That makes more sense.
It does fall off at one point when he breaks and it. It wakes up. He wakes up and then he hits it again, right? And then they know for sure that it's dead.
He wakes up. He looks at them. Then
it scares me too.
Yes, and he hits the brakes and then he flies off the car.
They're driving along, and George is kind of getting dreams about what they could do if they really did find a Bigfoot, and think of how this could play out
and improve
their life.
Yes. Right.
And then all of a sudden it wakes up.
Right.
And he hits it again.
I don't think he hits it again. He just hits the brakes and flies off the car.
And that's enough
then you
to
assume
just
it's really dead this time. So they go home, but right before they go home, we're introduced to, I guess, his character is just the guy looking for Bigfoot.
Oh, it's Jacques
something or other. So he's like sniffing and licking Bigfoot hair, which is kind of
he does a lot of sniffing and licking when he thinks he's hot on. I think that's to show you how connected he is to his work, perhaps.
I guess.
He's wearing a goofy beret.
I'm wondering how much Bigfoot hair he's found where he licks it and knows that it's Bigfoot.
Well, he studied it for like 20-something years, I think they say they've been studying it, right?
Yeah, when he runs into what's-his-face, that old guy, they must have been looking for Bigfoot their entire lives.
This is what they've made their career out of, basically.
Every now and then we cut back to him, and we can get to his character later on once he becomes more important, but for a while, it's just Harry with his family, and every now and then we're like, okay, there's this Jacques guy that's after
that he's on their trail, right? He finds their license plate. He knows that Harry has been hit, or the Bigfoot has been hit by a car.
Yes.
So,
They go home. Late that night, George wakes up in bed. And he just goes outside to check to make sure that this dead Bigfoot is still strapped to his car.
Checking in on it, right.
And it's not.
It's gone.
He then finds Harry raiding the fridge.
Yep.
Which is turned over. It's on its side.
He just turned it on its side.
The door is open. How he didn't hear that.
Yeah, why that
I guess
didn't
he hears it. Maybe he was outside when all this happened. Maybe they passed each other and just didn't know it.
Right? Because he's so delicate, that Bigfoot. He's drinking some milk, and he's just eating food from the fridge. Oh, I like George kind of falls into the kitchen, right? He stumbles in, and he drops his flashlight, and the flashlight just spins wildly and kind of shows the shadow of,
yes,
it's your big friend that's in here.
This movie isn't shot particularly well. Mm-hmm. And other than the Bigfoot suit, there's not really any effects. Glamour, but, everything... The kitchen is the nicest... Not nicest looking part of the movie, but it's where the most stuff I think is happening as far as lighting and everything. Like there's a point where Bigfoot just grabs the refrigerator and pushes it, and it spins across the floor of the room. Like I thought that was really good. I'm like, oh, that's a neat practical effect that they're doing. But he's freaking out. Mm-hmm. George calls his whole family to come into this kitchen, which seems crazy. Like he starts going, man, get in.
Gotta help me,
Right.
Well, he starts trying to fight him with a pepper shaker and a chair, I think, at first.
Yeah. He keeps holding up chairs, and Harry just grabs him and throws him against the wall, and they shatter.
And then, Nan has a great idea. So now the family's cornered. They're in the kitchen. What are they going to do? They've got this angry Bigfoot. And Nan sort of weaves her way toward a drawer, and you think she's going to pull out a big butcher knife.
Right.
Like, let's just get him.
Yeah.
And she sprays him with a can of Glade.
Yes, which he really enjoyed.
Yeah.
I guess we're meant to think that those Glade things smell just like fresh flowers, which they don't. They're gross. I don't like the smell of those things.
It reminds me of poop.
But he really likes it. He's sniffing the air. And
it's distracting.
It kind of calms him down.
It is. Maybe it's lavender flavored. We don't know. Before they go outside, now they're stuck outside watching him ruin their house.
Right.
He goes into the fridge and eats he eats Sarah's corsage.
Eats the daughter Sarah's corsage, which I was like, how old is this girl?
She says it was for her 15th birthday. She'd been saving it for X amount of months, so she's going to be 16, I guess.
Oh, give me a break. Really?
Yeah.
You going to save that corsage? Anyway.
Well, she freaks out on him, though. So this family is petrified of this big, giant Bigfoot. Even the dad doesn't quite know what to do.
She runs back in the house to yell at
him. And she gets in his face about it, and it's pretty great, because he kind of, sinks back and looks at her, or Harry does, with his big kind of, I'm so sorry, don't yell at me eyes. And she gives him what for. Yeah. She's like...
But it was one of those moments in the movie where I'm like, if he was real, he wouldn't stand for this. But then he just screams at her again.
She screams at him like, I can't believe you would do that. And then I think his reaction is, I guess this is what we're doing. I'll scream back.
He just yells back.
And his scream, it's kind of funny, does that thing where her hair blows and she's... so she... After that, then the family goes and hides outside.
All run outside, and they just watch him wander through their house.
And ruin it, basically. He's breaking all...
He punches holes through walls to look for the backs of deer heads.
Oh, yeah, he says,
which is a very sad part of the movie, where he sees a deer, and does he pet it?
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
And then he looks for the back of it on the other side of the wall, and there's no... Right.
Because he's in a human house, so he's a little tall, so his head breaks through their... entryways and stuff like that. And
it's a lot of Harry bumping his head and then crouching down and going, oh, that hurt.
Or stepping on things and breaking them
he goes up the steps and I'm pretty sure he would just fall right through those
he makes a couple of steps up and then that's when George is going, great, just great. He's ruining my crap. Oh, he also, he does not only get fascinated with some of the dead animals he sees, they have a fish tank. And he kind of looks at the fish tank and is like, he
picks up that goldfish and just eats it.
He's a pescatarian.
And then what he does is he takes, I think Nancy says it's like a mink stole.
Oh, that's right.
He takes that and I think the deer head out in the back
and buries
it.
Yeah, he has a formal burial for it.
And I was like, does Bigfoot just run around the forest and bury all the dead animals he finds?
He's almost like cleanup crew in the forest. Right. Yeah. He's like the forest sanitation.
So while he's doing that, then I guess George realizes that either Bigfoot hates all these dead animals or that's why he's destroying their house. So he runs around and takes all the dead or stuffed animals and shoves them all in a closet while Harry's outside burying this stuff. Right. So cleans up his house of all the dead animals or all the...
Right, they put them all in the
proof of the murders that he's committed.
Yeah, proof of the murders, Before, at some point, he does try to kill him again. He takes the rifle because he's like, enough is enough with this guy, ruining our house. And but then when he goes to shoot Harry, that's when Harry gives him the saddest, most pathetic little look.
Yes.
And he can't do it.
Right.
And that's when I think he says, all right, let's make him more comfortable.
He's more human than monster then.
I think it's when he has, you're more human than monster. And when he has the idea to George wants to hide everything, he tells the family, he tells Nan, stall him. keep him away. She's like, what do you want me to do? He's like, show him the pasta maker. Which,
and I was ready for a scene of him with a pasta maker.
Me too.
I did. Because then I remember that exact line, because then about 5 minutes later I was like, did I miss the pasta thing?
Maker part? What? But now George decides to call the cops, right?
Yeah, the cop thing.
Probably not his first best.
Not a good idea to call the cops.
No.
Or
have your story straight or be less
right, exactly.
panic.
Yes. Somebody broke into my house, they're messing everything up. My family was able to get outside. Like, just say that. Like,
right,
you don't need to tell them that it's Bigfoot. And I do love how the cops just laugh at
yeah,
him.
the cops are
Just
like,
laughs.
and the cops kind of straight and says, like, listen, if you want to report that there's a Bigfoot in your house, then what's going to happen is we're going to quarantine your whole town. We're going to get all your neighbors out of the neighborhood. This is a big deal. And George is like, no, it's just, we're fine. It's no Bigfoot here.
That cop scene was really weird, too, because when the call comes in and he starts talking about Bigfoot, the cop on the phone is, like, signaling to all the cop buddies, like, I got to
This is a live one,
here. And then I expected this scene to be, like, all of them gathered around the phone. No, nobody even walks over.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Maybe he's just the goofball of detective of the group.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they don't. Oh, this is the when we get to meet the neighbor, Irene.
What is Irene? What is this lady who should be on The Nanny? Like, she is an insane, like,
she's pretty
transplant.
Fun.
I mean,
she's pretty fun. Her outfits are pretty fun.
Right. She's not from Washington.
No,
clearly.
She's definitely from New Jersey.
Right.
Yeah.
It is. That's the one part of this where I was like, well, this could be a sitcom because she is clearly the wacky neighbor.
She was a good wacky neighbor. Yeah. She and she's the neighbor that neighbor that will chat with you even when you got stuff to do.
And it was really weird too because I assumed he woke up at midnight and all this was going on in the middle of the night.
No,
and
it's
then
like 5:30.
They're like, hey, she's going to be over with the dog. I'm like, what is it? And suddenly it was light outside.
Yeah. No, I think he wakes up at like 5:30 in the morning.
They actually show.
Yeah, they do. He looks at his clock. Mm-hmm.
Boy, was I not paying attention.
Well, you were watching this for the pasta maker.
No, I was watching this in an airport. So.
Oh, that's true. See, the things we do for these travel podcasts.
Right.
But no, she brings home the dog, and when the neighbor comes, Irene's here. They hide him in the basement.
And I mean, they've warmed up to this monster within a half hour.
Pretty quickly.
Like, they let this kid go in the basement with this gigantic beast and think nothing of it.
No.
Just close the door behind him. You okay down there? Bye.
Bye, yes. Just keep him down there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this lady is, like, the refrigerator's on the ground. Like, she doesn't
I like how, their house looks a mess. The refrigerator's been thrown on the ground. She makes a comment. I think Nan's like, oh, yeah, we're cleaning out the fridge.
Right, yeah.
And she grabs peanut butter from the big mess. She's like, where's your peanut butter?
Well, she found a new diet, Jenny.
Yeah, she's always on a diet craze.
Right.
What about when she's riding the stationary bike next to her pool?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that she thinks that a lot of the way Bigfoot beat up their house, she thinks it's because they're having marital problems.
Oh, yeah.
That they've just been maybe wrecking their place.
How about the fact that Bigfoot's gigantic arm bursts out from the wall, and she goes, what's that?
A gerbil.
And the mom says, a gerbil. I think she first says, a hamster. And the lady goes, what? And she goes, a gerbil.
A gerbil.
And that is acceptable.
Yeah, and that's...
It's a science project. A gerbil.
The gerbil.
Which then I'm like, what kind of science project would this be? Did he create a gerbil
But
from
Irene's
nothing?
too self-absorbed to really care what that is. So,
yes.
yeah, right?
And Irene has more good stuff to come. So
Irene does have lots of good stuff to come.
Finally, the neighbor leaves.
Oh, yeah.
And the dog keeps jumping at him.
It's like a Jack Russell Terrier.
Right, exactly. Which is aggravating.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, Harry just reaches out and grabs the dog. And just stops that dog in midair.
Uh-huh.
And the mom is the one that goes up. And it's like, he's our pet. And she pets him and shows them that they don't hate animals. Like, I guess that's sort of when Harry realizes...
They bridge that gap.
Yes, exactly.
It's very heartwarming.
And then she sees his hands bleeding and they ran him over with their car. Like, but it wasn't
how is
even
he
that.
not a little beat up? But he's got like a scratch, like a paper cut on his hand, maybe from punching a wall. And she's like, oh, he's hurt.
I love
yeah,
when she
you run
puts
him
the
over
iodine on his hand and he just opens his mouth but doesn't scream. Just like,
it's really fun. With his giant teeth. And she's all concerned. I wish we had something that didn't burn. I like, too, this is when they don't know much about him. How do we find out more about him? And Sarah goes, well, he's definitely a male. And the mom's like, how can you tell?
Yeah, and then she goes, I don't want to know.
Don't tell me about that.
And I'm not saying that then made me stare at Bigfoot's crotch for the entire movie.
But you were like, what did she see?
And I'm like, what did she see? What possible position were his legs in when at one moment...
When he got to get a full view?
Yeah, because I was like, you don't see anything.
Maybe when she... you don't see anything, no. Yeah.
So we go to the bad guys for a second. We're introduced to... Yeah. I mean... I don't want to say the old guy's a bad guy because he turns out not to be one.
Sure.
And in a way, they both turn out not to be bad guys. But
they're Bigfoot hunters.
So it's this Jacques guy talking to, who's the older guy?
I forget his name. Doctor something. We'll just call him the doctor.
Doctor something. Like he has a little Bigfoot museum, like one of those side of the road things, curiosities.
Right.
So it cuts to them real quick, but at least we're back at home then. Everybody takes the day off, too,
yeah,
right?
No one's going to school
Kids
or
aren't going to school.
We got this to deal with.
He's calling out of work. So I don't know where everybody is, but George is very excited when everybody gets home because he has taught Bigfoot to do tricks.
Yep, using sugar cubes. Which she's like, they have no good value, no caloric value to them, no nutrition.
But he loves them. Shouldn't he be using dog treats or something? What are the tricks? Just sit, right?
Just sit. Yeah, he taught him to sit, which is, I guess the first time he did it delicately, but every time he does it after that, he's busting couches.
Because I'm like, wait, how did you teach him to sit without breaking? Because he seems shocked when he breaks the couch and the coffee table, because of course... Like, it's a gag where anytime somebody says the word sit, he gets so excited and doesn't just sit. He jumps into the air and comes down hard, crashing through whatever he lands on.
Yes.
He's now part of...
when he sits in the recliner, he somehow fits.
He sits in the recliner.
And he's got a great laugh.
He's eating dip.
Yeah, he's eating like a sour cream dip.
Yeah, watching that Ronald Reagan monkey movie, Bedtime for Bonzo. And he's laughing.
Hysterically.
He's laughing at this movie.
He's got a hearty laugh, too.
This creature from the woods who doesn't seem to
finding comfort in the recliner and the TV. Yeah.
He thinks this monkey messing with Ronald Reagan is the funniest thing he's ever seen.
And he's got such a goofy laugh, right?
He really does.
They decide, though, right? Don't they kind of decide that they can't?
The kid wants to keep him.
Well, and kind of, for a minute again, George is kind of into the idea of keeping him again for the fame and fortune that it can, imagine what it could do. We could be on talk shows, da-da-da. But then, isn't that what happens? They watch some TV and they see, is that when they see that there's been Bigfoot? No, not yet. No, because he hasn't left their house yet. That's right.
No, but there was a Bigfoot while he's watching TV, George and Nan are kind of saying, he can't, we have to get rid of him.
Yeah.
George's plan is to lure him in the car with hamburgers, which he won't eat.
No, because they're meat.
Because he takes the meat out, looks at it and freaks out. But he gets him fish.
And the fries. Yeah.
And I love it when he goes, oh no, I mixed up the orders. So there's one fish sandwich and about 100 burgers. How could you mix up that order? But he has a lot of fries and he throws them all in the back seat of the car. Yeah. And Harry gets in the back of the car and he sits up and his head dents, makes a huge dent in the back. And the kid is really sad.
Ernie is sad.
Super bummed out.
Yeah.
And Ernie is the one who names him Harry. Because he even says, no, don't. Harry can't leave.
Yeah. Harry sees him being sad, right? And then Harry cries too.
And then he runs away. I didn't quite understand if Harry knew. Why does Harry run away at that time? He just sees that there's some family problems and needs to get away. He's like,
I got to get out of this. They're so emotional over here.
This gets way too attached to me. I've been here for a half a day.
I gotta get back.
That is one lonely boy.
Poor Ernie.
Yeah, so now the majority of this movie is just Harry's adventure in whatever town they live in. Yeah. Because he is then on the run.
Oh, this is... he
goes into somebody else's house. Yeah,
he does. He breaks into a house in the middle of the night with a a couple that's sleeping, kind of an older couple. And the woman is a badass because they both wake up and the man's like, what can I do? And she's like, you just stay here. And she has like curlers in her hair and a house coat on. And she grabs a handgun, and she's ready to take down the intruder.
Right.
And she sees when she gets
that her husband
downstairs.
just went back to sleep.
I think he did. I think he's like, all right, she's handling this. She has balls of steel. I could never.
She does this every night.
Yeah.
I know it's nothing.
This is her thing. This is her
your
jam.
gun down.
Yeah.
Right.
So she goes down there, and then what she sees is Harry's foot, which she thinks is a mouse.
Right.
And she goes to hit the mouse with like a rolled up newspaper or something.
She puts the gun down.
Yeah.
Picks up a newspaper.
Slaps the toe, actually. Harry it's pretty painful for Harry. All things considered, the slap on the toe from a newspaper, he starts to scream and...
Yeah.
Anyway, he alerts her now, and now she passes out.
She totally faints.
Yeah. When she faints, now he's, again, I guess, learning quickly from the humans he's interacted with. She passes out, and at some point we find out that she was found on the roof of her car.
Yeah.
So I think that Harry must have thought, oh, this is what people do. If you fall down and you're hurt, you go to the roof of a car.
I didn't make that connection, but I like that idea. The next morning, Ernie tries to set their dog free.
Yeah, I think he's having some...
It's a dumb little...
it is.
So stupid.
He's like, go be free into the wild. And he's crying about it, and he sets their dog, Ted, I'm going to call him out.
James the dog.
Yeah. It was it was like a human name. But this is when they're watching like the morning news show.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Who is this lunatic on a show called Wake Up Seattle? And he's screaming and just laughing like a crazy person.
He kind of looks like the Colonel, doesn't he? Kind of look like some kind of like...
I don't know how this guy has a show that seems like a legit show.
Seattle people love him, I guess.
And even when it must be a big... Like, I did not research who this guy was.
No, I don't
he
know
must
if he
be
was
a comedian or something.
Or maybe it was like a true Seattle talk show.
Because
he was...
he's oddly a big part of this movie because they will talk about Wake Up Seattle and they're like, oh, do you believe anything that guy says?
Yeah.
Why is he such a huge character? Does he get a phone call? He takes something from a caller, right?
Oh,
or does he just talk?
No, I think he just reads the news. And in the news was how this woman that passed out.
Yes.
When she saw Harry in her house, how there's been a Bigfoot spotting, and doesn't Nan tell George like you can't think about it. You have to go to work. You have to just get on with your day. Like you can't go find him. Don't make your day about that. Right?
Which, that's bad advice by Nan.
Yeah, that's a weird... How's he supposed to just change...
Bigfoot's in your town, and you're the ones that put him there. Like, make that your day.
Yeah.
How angry is your weird dad going to be that you took off another day at work? The place isn't mobbed yet.
Not yet, at least, yeah. They get low.
But George does go to work, and while he's at work, the guys at work are laughing about Bigfoot sightings.
And I like it. Doesn't he get kind of personal about it? Like, how do we know? How do we know he's a big, mean Bigfoot? You don't know.
He might be really nice.
Yeah.
So
you might be able to teach him to sit with sugar cubes. You don't know.
So while he's gone, Jacques shows up.
You mean Dave Attell.
David, he looks a lot like David Tell, you're right. So David Tell shows up with the license plates.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, here, I found your license plate, or what is he? He's a ranger, right?
Yeah, he says he's a forest ranger,
Forest ranger. I think you hit something with your car.
Yeah, what did you hit? Yeah, Nan does a bad job. She's like, it walked away. I mean, it crawled, it scurried away.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Yeah. I like it when he goes, it just walked away. She says it walked away, and then he looks at her and she goes, oh, I mean it crawled. But I'm like, wait, if you hit a deer with your car and it walked away, you'd say it walked away.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, but he's very
just because it has two legs, like things with four legs,
they walk. Yeah,
right?
They don't. Yeah, no, but he's very intimidating with his hat and his look and his whole... And then, too, Irene's like, what's he selling? Get him out of here, shady guy.
I like how she answers their door.
Yeah,
because at first I was like, "Oh, this dude has the wrong house. Now he's gonna get into it with the sassy neighbor." Nope, she's just answering their door.
Yeah. She's just hanging out with Nan.
Oh God, I only imagine. But Nancy doesn't have a job, right? Like she probably has to hang out with this crazy woman every day,
all the time. Yeah. That's when David
Tell also buys bullets. Mm-hmm. From George.
Hardcore bullets. That George is like, what are you shooting with this? And he gets them, and George even makes a comment like, we don't really sell a lot of these.
Yeah.
Attell buys all of them.
Attell's like, do you have more? And he's like, I don't have more than this. You have a whole box
But I have there. You only need one to kill whatever.
Right.
But George's craving for knowledge gets the best of him. And he goes to the library, right? How about this librarian that he talks to, right? With the crazy hair and the glasses. And she, like, makes a joke of him. She's like, what are you looking for? He's like, I'm looking for a book on Sasquatch. She's like, try the children's section. Like, she's not in this movie very long. She's like a minute, but
no,
she's got quite the look.
I like how he walks into the library and he's like, I'm looking for a book on the Sasquatch. Like, he's embarrassed. But again, just from being in this area a little bit, every goddamn thing is Sasquatch this. That.
We're into it,
So, I don't know, how embarrassing would it be to, like, go in and look for a book on it? Like, he would have, I don't know. She shouldn't make fun of him.
No, but she does. He's embarrassed and she does make fun of him. And then the only literature that paints the Sasquatch in the proper light is all the literature that this doctor,
written
this older
by
doctor
the old guy who's played by Don Amici.
Yes. But doesn't him and Nan put together that Dave Attell was trying to, because he's like, this guy came into the store, he needed all these bullets, and she's like, because he brings home the book that the doctor wrote, and in it is a picture of Dave Attell.
Yes.
And he's like, that's the guy that bought the bullets. And she's like, that's the guy from the Forest Ranger. So they're like, and she goes, that lying bastard. And then he goes to seek out the doctor, right?
Right.
Harry, on the other hand, is trying to he can see the woods, he can see the forest in the distance, but the city and the traffic
he doesn't want to cross the street. I totally get it. Can we talk about when he watches the old couple in the hot tub? Because I was like, what is going to happen with this scene? I cannot wait.
Well, he stumbles upon like a little neighborhood where he watches he watches a woman making dinner,
like
and she's
boiling the chicken,
making like chicken soup. Maybe
I hope so, because that's not how you
chicken.
That's not how you should cook a chicken.
She gets a whole chicken, and she like puts it into this boiling, pot of boiling water or herbs and veggies. And in the meantime, on the other end of the fence, he's watching this old couple, this man, lure this chubby old woman into a hot tub, much like you put a chicken into the pot for soup.
But I didn't understand what we were supposed to get out of that, or what he was getting out of that. Like,
I think it just meant like he was out of his comfort zone. Oh, because he also watches the man Cooper Scoop the dog, and he's like, what the hell? They're putting themselves into hot tubs, like they cook their chicken, and they're cleaning up their dog poop. What are these humans all about? In the meantime, George has gone off to find this doctor, this man who's so knowledgeable of all things Bigfoot. And you're right, he owns like a souvenir shop. George brings up to the, like, how can I see the doctor? Or what if I have this family, this friend of mine named Jack, who wants to, finds a Sasquatch and wants to live with him. And the doctor claims he's not who he is and is like, I can't answer your questions, but I'll give the doctor your message, and I won't give him your message unless you buy some stuff.
Yes.
So George ends up buying, like, a lamp and coffee mugs and some plates.
And I'm like, how much stuff did he make him buy before he decided he would give him his number and contact information?
He does buy a handful of things, and then Nan has found the sketches that George has made, right?
Well, George's dad, because of all the Bigfoot panic in town.
Oh, yeah.
George's dad is like, can you draw a picture? Draw a picture of that Bigfoot. And do you still do that nonsense I used to make fun of you for when you were younger? And so he asked him to draw a big, menacing, giant, scary Bigfoot to get people in. And I guess, panic and fear.
Yeah.
Fear and panic.
Yeah, he wants
we'll bring people in to get guns. And yes, exactly. So you're right. Nan stumbles upon him drawing a very terrifying looking Bigfoot.
It is like this fangs, but he can't even handle it. He crumbles it up. He's like, no, I can't. No. He does also have a sweet drawing that he made of
He does make that. That's what he brings into work.
Yeah.
It's an adorable, like, he's even smiling in the picture, I think, and like waving.
I like when he goes home to Nan to say, like, my dad wants me to do this picture and I don't want to. Now, this has been, like, maybe a couple hours they've really had with Harry. And he goes, how do you do this? It's like making a wanted poster of your best friend.
like your best friend.
So into Harry.
He should be Ernie's best friend. That's what he should have said.
It's touched the family. And
right, it has.
Yeah. In the meantime, the business does get crazy.
The
People
business
are buying
is
things.
booming.
Yes. And it's like nonstop customers trying to buy guns so they could
guns and bullets for
so
Bigfoot.
they could shoot the Bigfoot.
Yep.
And
His dad ruins his drawing.
Oh yeah, his dad
by
comes in
putting
his drawing.
crazy fangs and like even puts big long claws at the end.
And now George kind of has a breakdown, right?
George has had enough. He quits his job running the family business to find Harry. Mm-hmm. He can't take it anymore. Killing animals is wrong. It's just everything's wrong.
Yeah, and he kind of goes out.
He goes. He walks right at. He quits over the Bigfoot drawing.
Yeah, and then he stumbles upon
a cyclist.
Now this town is going crazy, right? Yeah, this town has gone crazy, and everyone has claimed to see the Bigfoot, or probably has, because now even Harry himself is sort of like, "How do I get out of here?" and kind of walking himself in circles, I guess. So yeah, there's a cyclist being interviewed by the news.
It's really funny.
Go ahead, you can talk. I
just love how the cyclist gives his account of how terrifying this Bigfoot is, and how he knocked him over through his bike and everything,
and held the bike above his head. Growling at him. George gets so pissed. He's like, "Did that happen? Did that really happen? Or was what really happened is you got so scared because you passed out, and he was just trying to help you cross the road, and you were just freaked out enough to be." And he's like, "And then you pissed your pants." And the guy's like crying, and he's like, "Actually, yeah, that's what happened. Oh my god!" And
the news reporters are so weird because then they immediately just swing around. They're like, "How did you know that? How do you know?
What is your name?" And he's like, "Harry Hen." No, George Hen. George Hen. And he can't finish because I think he has a moment when he's looking into the camera. And remember, when they first saw Harry, his thought was, we can get famous off of this.
We'll get
so
famous.
Now here he is with his moment to be like, I know Harry. I know him well. I found him myself in the forest. And the camera gets him, and he can't say anything beyond stumbling through his name. He doesn't even get through the whole name because even later the newscasters reference him, and they're like, this man... George Hender.
It's just George Hen. Because even as he's leaving, they're like, George Hen.
Yeah.
George Hen. George Hen, come back.
Now, this is funny, though. So, Harry is wandering the streets lonely at night.
Walking down the middle of a street at night.
And, of course, he gets through a television shop, a TV store. TV store?
Where they used to stack them up in the windows.
And what does he see?
And they're all playing the interview, but on a weird delay. Each TV is about 5 seconds behind the other one.
Which is kind of how it's done, I guess. But so when he sees George, he wants George, and he grabs the TV. Right. And it breaks the window, sets off the alarm. But
every
then
TV he grabs and starts to walk away, and he unplugs it, and then has to go back and grab another one.
Yeah, and then the cops come, right?
Well, this is where everything, like the cops and Jacques and George all converge in this city.
Oh, that's right.
And they're all looking for Harry, and everybody's running around with guns.
Yeah.
And
the whole city wants to get
It's just like a bad action sequence because not much is happening.
Yeah, it's kind of sloppy. They're all just scattered around. This is when George starts to... Because everyone's now, they know he's out there, but where is he? Where is he hiding? So George is trying to find him, and he's shouting Harry, but then he starts to do like a Bigfoot call.
Yep.
He's like, oh!
He's taking a lot of leaps of faith with the fact that this must be how they communicate with each other. If I do this, he will respond.
He'll know what this is. Right. The cops don't find... So George does start to run from the cops at one point, and then they don't find him. He ducks behind some trash pile or something. And they find like a real-life Rambo-looking guy, right? Because like you said, the whole town is armed and ready
all the people who were at the store are now out, too. Right. Like, everybody's just...
Somebody wants to get a piece.
There's these crazy vigilantes running around the streets with guns, and there's cops, and Jacques in a dumpster at one point. Yeah.
He hides in a dumpster. He gets put in a dumpster.
Harry throws him in the dumpster.
That's right.
George and Harry meet up, and they end up escaping. And this time he sits in the passenger seat. Right? No, I thought he put him in the regular car.
Well, this is after their misadventures in the garbage.
Oh,
they do have a little bit of and where Harry is almost shot by Jock, right? By David Tell. They're in the dumpster together, and Harry knocks David Tell out when David Tell finally comes to, and George's driving is pretty bad, and I think that's inevitably what saves Harry.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And Jock is also arrested. by the
yes,
police
yes.
at this point for whatever reason. I don't know why
Covered
he's
in trash,
arrested.
too.
Yeah.
I like it, too, because when he's in his jail cell, everybody he's pacing because he's so angry, and everyone there's a big group in his jail cell that keep walking away from him because he smells so bad.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Like, is he such a badass
No,
that
I
all
think it's
these
because
dudes
he's
are
so
scared?
smelly. He was in a dumpster.
Okay, all right. No, that makes way more sense
yeah.
than I'm like, why are they so afraid of him
I
that
think
they
it's
can't even be
stinks.
near
Yeah.
him? Ernie the nerd is super excited
Yeah.
that Harry's back. Like, everybody's kind of excited.
Mm-hmm.
The daughter even walks downstairs and is like, I knew he's back. I could smell him when he walked
but she does it
in.
in an affectionate, like,
Right,
oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
But Ernie makes a mistake and opens,
he opens
the
that closet. That's
door,
right.
and
Yeah.
dead animals just spill out into
and
this house.
Now Harry's grown to love this family, but now
Right.
this is a moment where it's like, guys, you didn't tell me about. But then George has a great idea, and they decide to bury all their dead.
They do,
right?
yeah. Nan has a great idea how to make it
it's
better.
Nan. Okay.
Yes. And she says, let's just do this. And they just pile just a huge mound of dirt with little, like, animals sticking out here and there. But it makes him feel better.
Right.
He gets a bath while watching the Addams Family.
They bathe him in the in Irene's pool.
Right,
And
yes.
then they're drying him, and they're all taking turns brushing parts of him and while he's watching the Addams Family. And there is a moment, it's a cheesy moment, when the Addams Family song comes, they're creepy, and the family looks at each other like, maybe we're like creepy and kooky. Yeah.
But isn't there one of those weird things where he's like, he just loves TV.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many weird interactions between.
Yeah.
There's 3 times in this movie when he's watching television.
And loving it. Well, this is when Irene's on the exercise bike, and she's so mad about the pool, because now their pool's for shit. It's like got big clumps of hairy hair in it.
Big clumps of hair.
Yeah. And she's stressed. And there is a moment when you could tell Nan's like, we can't talk right now. The phone is ringing. I have to go, right?
Don Amiche shows up to dinner.
Yes.
Why does he show up to dinner?
Because
does he finally believes his story?
Yeah, well, now that's on the news that he's really out and about. And
he probably saw them interviewing George Henn or whatever.
Yes, and he's put it all together now that, yes, he has seen, a Sasquatch. And he's trying, and remember, the doctor, because from what...
But it's not even that, because I think he's there to convince them that the Sasquatch is not real.
No, he says that you can't live with him.
You can't live with him. Right. Okay, that's what it is.
These animals.
He basically comes over to dinner to tell them that's not a good idea.
Yeah. That's just nature.
Do you hear that? Yeah, that's nature. Everybody. If you heard that. If you didn't, it sounded really scary.
It sounds like a pterodactyl.
There it is again. Yep. It's pterodactyls. All right, so... He comes over for dinner.
I do like Nan has made a dinner and she's made a roast. And he's like, oh, who's going to cut the roast? She's like, it's actually resting in a shallow, unmarked grave in the yard. And the doctor's confused. He's like, so you guys vegetarians?
Right.
Or what's going on here?
Like, no, vegetarians don't cook food and then
just bury it. Yeah.
They wouldn't get meat. So it is a funny gag.
Yeah.
When Harry's behind him.
Well, he's giving this impassioned speech.
Right, yes.
About how he's chased this beast for many years, and he's a crazy beast, and he's not something to live with.
Did you notice Nan's outfit at this dinner? It is very inappropriate.
What is she wearing?
It is cut down. It's a shirt that is unbuttoned to her waist. And it looked, I was like, this is very inappropriate.
Nan's like, the doctor's got some knowledge, and I know how to get to it. So saucy.
And Sarah looks like she's dressed in like a doily.
Yeah,
it looks
she
like
is super dressed.
It's a dress, but like
ruffle.
The shoulders are covered in doilies.
Yeah.
It's a weird outfit. Like, she should be dressed like a slut, and the mom should be wearing that other stuff.
Sure, if they want to play their games right.
But anyway, I shouldn't have been paying attention to outfits, because at the same time, Harry's listening to a Walkman.
Okay.
And he comes across the drawings of Bigfoot.
And he enjoys the one of himself looking gentle, but he's very hurt by the ones of his.
Yes. He's not afraid of it. He's like, why would you draw me like this? This is not me.
It's like putting your best friend on a wanted poster.
It really is.
But yeah, as the doctor's telling the story and Harry's kind of creeping up behind him, the whole family is like busting out laughing.
They are having a ball.
And he's like, am I missing the joke? And then he sees Harry. And I think
it's almost a weird thing, though, where he doesn't see him, but it's almost like that realization, like, he's standing right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah,
There's a Bigfoot right behind me, right, guys?
And when he sees him, I think his response is just, Yahoo!
He's so excited.
Yeah.
He is dancing around.
And Harry gives one of his glorious teethy grins. Toothy grins, right?
Yes. After this, they're sitting in the living room talking about like what to do with him and everything. And the doctor is even like, "Okay, well, here's what we'll do.
I know where we can take him."
I'll take him. Yes. Mm-hmm. And he just gets up and leaves.
Oh yeah, and they have a conversation.
And I love
that was so
how
awkward.
even Nancy's like, "He just left. He didn't even say goodbye." Yeah. And then of course you see him coming with a sleeping bag because he's just bunking up with Harry.
And Harry makes himself a bed. He's got some leaves and twigs.
He just like brings branches into the house and throws them in a corner. And
then the next morning they wake up and it's like Harry is spooning with Ernie and aren't they all kind of sleeping together?
They're all just sleeping together and having fun. Well, Jacques gets out of jail.
Yeah. He calls somebody angrily several times who finally does bail him out.
Oh, Harry also at this time picks all the neighbors' flowers and gives them to Sarah, which is super sweet.
Yeah.
It's very cute. I like that.
And she thinks
it's like an apology. Yes. Yeah. But the neighbor is pissed.
Yeah. These are her prized flowers. These are Irene's precious roses. When Jacques gets out of jail, he immediately, of course, goes to their house, the neighbor's house, and he's smelling the roses, which obviously, or what's left of the roses, which obviously has the pungent smell of Bigfoot on them. And so that's what Irene sees. Yes. This lunatic who claimed to be, who was creepy and knocking on their door the other day.
He was a park ranger, but now he's sniffing the flowers that are all gone.
And what does she take, like a little electric saw? She has like a little electric carving knife.
Yeah, it's a carving knife, and she threatens him with it. Yes. Because he's like peeping through their windows. Looking for Harry. So when he turns to talk to her, Harry pops his face in the window, and the neighbor with the carving knife faints.
Yes, she sees him. Right. But it's funny because she sees him, but then when Attell turns to look, it's just George's face there. So he's like, what's this kid?
And I kind of forgot how this movie ended. I thought the whole gag was going to be like Jacques. This poor guy's always been searching for Bigfoot, just...
Oh, I forgot that it
never really gets a chance to see him or anything like that. But no, Jacques is chasing them.
Well, they are like, we got to get out of here.
Right.
Jacques is here, and we got to get him. We got to get Harry to safety.
Because even Don Amici is like, listen, I'm the good Bigfoot hunter.
Right. Yeah,
he wants to kill him. Like,
and I don't think we can stop him.
Yes.
So they jump in the Doc's car, which is like an old truck.
Yeah, what? Like,
I don't know why they decided to take his.
More headroom, I guess. Yeah.
But they jump in the truck, and then Attell steals the Hendersons' car.
Right.
And starts following him, and they get kind of through traffic. They think they're doing good. I think at one point even the doc says, don't think we're out yet. This is his favorite part, is like the chase kind of thing.
Yeah.
They get stuck in some traffic. This
like,
is a scene
how many times has this happened?
I know,
Jacques is chasing Bigfoot through traffic.
This is the part I definitely remembered, like, from this movie, is when they're stuck in traffic, and now emergency vehicles come through, so traffic gets kind of shifted around.
Yes.
But Harry realizes what the emergency vehicles is. It's just a siren, and a siren sound.
And with his bellowy voice.
So he,
that travels, yes.
And it already looks like, because his head has made kind of a dent in the red truck, so it looks like a light. And I
guess it looks like an old-timey cop car from England in the 1812s. I'm like, who thinks that this is an emergency vehicle? Because a monster's sticking his head out the
nobody
side.
Notices the fur ball coming out of the side.
There's no lights.
They don't.
No, but traffic parts. Jacques is then stuck in the traffic, and they are able to get away into the mountains.
Yes.
And now we have a very long scene of them saying goodbye to Harry.
It's hard, They know this is better for Harry. They know this is... Harry doesn't want to go at first because he's kind of like, well, you're my people now.
Right,
and he's kind of hesitant to leave. And then we have a very emotional... This family, by the way, I didn't mention this earlier, but I did, make note of it. They hug a lot. Like, they always have
They're
their arms around each
affectionate
other.
family.
When they're wondering what to do with Harry, they kind of get in a group huddle.
Yeah, it's very much like Henderson huddle.
Yeah.
Let's get in here, guys.
They hug a lot.
Let's work it. You know they have family meetings, right?
Oh, yeah, they do. They have Thursday
do.
night family meetings where they get, oh, yeah. This is kind of emotional when Harry, or George, can't quite say goodbye to Harry. He's trying to be emotional about it, and Harry's not getting it. So
it's the whole thing where he's like, "You big dumb jerk, get out of here! I never liked you anyway."
Go.
But he does punch him in the face.
And then Harry looks so sad.
It looks so sad,
and he has to walk off.
Right.
Even though he keeps looking back, like,
yes.
And I think he yells, "Go back to where you came from."
Yes.
But then he mouths, "Goodbye, friend," once he's gone.
Of course he does.
And then, but now Jacques Attell is still nearby.
Yeah.
He gets to them somehow.
Yeah, David Attell is caught up by this point and realizes now, like, there's no family to get in his way.
Right, he can find them.
Yes, exactly.
But then it's Ernie that makes the comment. Ernie's like, "Don't worry, don't be sad. We can find him at any time because we could follow his footprints." And the family's like, "Yes, his footprints. So we need to make some distracting footprints," with I guess some of the molds that the doctor has on hand.
Yeah, I guess he's got them in the back of the truck probably. Because he even says to Jacques at one point, he's like, "If you got molds, I'll buy the molds. But come on, man, there's no Bigfoot.
Right.
Stop it." And then that made me wonder, like, does the doctor ever say something like, "This Jacques is a bad dude, and for years I've been keeping him just away from, like, real Bigfoot and, like, trying to throw him off the trail," or something like, I don't know.
I have a feeling that the hunt for the Bigfoot has just made Attell go a little crazy. Both of them have gone a little crazy.
Yeah, he's like a weird guy who's like way into fatigue.
Yeah, I do like how he's got the jacket, which I guess that's part of a military jacket. It has those loops or those stuff so that you can tuck things and store things in your jacket. He puts his beret in there.
Oh, of course. Where are you going to put it? In a pocket?
Right? Nope. No. You need it. You might want to whip that out.
Moment's notice.
Yeah. While the family is making tracks through the snow to distract Attell, Harry is watching this all with doves on his shoulders, right? The doves are collecting on his shoulders.
Crazy. Well, they're all so happy he's back there. They're like, "There's a lot of stuff for you to bury, man. A lot of things died over the past 24 hours.
You're on burial duty." But Harry's kind of touched that the family is doing this, right? He can kind of make sense to him what they're doing.
Trying to throw off the trail. No, he gets it.
Yeah.
Because I think he's also worried about the family's safety. Like, Jacques seems like a crazy man.
He's a lunatic with a gun.
He could shoot anybody or anything in these woods.
Well, and he kind of does. He goes to... Because he hears just footprints, David Attell.
Right.
He hears George making some footprints off in the distance and goes to shoot George, and that's when Harry jumps out from the trees.
Right, exactly.
And attacks.
And Harry grabs him.
Yeah.
Jacques kicks him in the balls.
Oh, yeah, he gets kicked right in the nuts.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's a very delayed, like...
Oh, it is. It's way more than delayed, because it's kind of like that thing where he kicks him, and David Attell realizes, well, that didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He is going to murder me now. He's going to rip my arms off. And then Harry's like, all they needed was his eyes to cross. Like, that was the only thing that would make this more silly than this reaction. Yeah. But then it's a big foot chase. Like, everybody's just running around through these woods, chasing each other.
Even the dog is in on it, right? Even Ted gets in on trying to attack David Attell.
Ted. Okay, so then it's sort of the end of this movie. Like, Harry is kind of cornered by Jacques, and Jacques like about to kill him, and then it's just one of those things where he sees that Harry's not like he sees him.
No, he doesn't just see that Harry's okay. Do you remember what happens?
I don't know.
No,
I don't remember. I guess
George.
That was in that airport.
George comes in and George shakes Attell and it's like, "You're not going to kill him. You're not going to," like, it's getting crazy with him. And it's and is like bouncing Attell's head on the back of the car or something. And then it's Harry's hand that protects Attell and looks at George like, no, don't hurt him. And kind of saves Attell's life.
Right.
Which is, that's part of the turnaround for Attell.
He saw all those heads in George's house. He's like, this could go bad.
Yeah, exactly. He will kill you and hang you on his wall.
He will have an Attell head in his study soon.
without a body, just a head. So it's in that moment that Attell is like, oh,
Right.
and Harry or Attell, they shake hands, Harry.
They
and
shake
Attell,
hands, and
as if
Harry
they're
like
okay.
touches the side of his
That's
head.
like Harry's
and,
thing
like,
is to
pushes him over.
He does that
onto
to
the
George
ground.
a few times.
Yeah.
I think he does it. He does it also to Sarah when he gives her the flowers.
Yep.
He, like, it's like his
Yeah.
show of affection.
I guess that's how they shake hands.
Yeah.
In the woods.
He like pushes her down on the floor.
Right.
Yeah. Now
But everybody does make friends. Like, it's
Yeah.
really cute at
Yeah.
the end of this. Like,
yeah. No, it's really
the
nice.
doctor and Jacques and the entire family and
They
everybody's
take
just up there.
pictures together.
They take
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah. And we see that Harry has a great sense of humor, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy.
He pretends, because Sarah gives him flowers to say, like, oh,
Yes.
they have this cute little thing they have back and forth. And Harry pretends like he's
Yeah,
going to
he
eat the
pretends-
flowers. And then he's like, I'm just kidding. I'm not really after flowers.
Remember when I ate your cookies? That's how we met.
And then George gives Harry a real goodbye, an emotional.
Right,
He
yes.
thanks him, like, you're never going to know what you've done for me.
Yes.
And they share a big squeezy hug, right?
Mm-hmm.
Harry turns back into nature, takes his walk, and suddenly we see like dozens. There's baby Sasquatch. There's they just crawl out from the trees and the
It's
nooks.
amazing.
It's what's happening to us right now.
It's
people. Little do you know,
Like, one sat next to me during this, and I thought that was weird. But
No.
we are now surrounded.
As we're closing this, we mentioned in the beginning that we took this podcast on location. We are in a forest in the northwest region of the United States. We're out in Oregon near Mount Hood in lush, beautiful forest land. And as we're closing this, as we're nearing the end of our Harry, they're just everywhere.
Oh, and also at the end of the movie, Harry says, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jock freaks out. Jock's
They
like,
have no language.
does he have his own language? I'm like, would his own language have the word okay? Like, what are you talking about?
They're just very passive aggressive in the big thing.
Okay,
yeah.
whatever.
Okay. Yeah, they know okay.
You got it.
They know meh.
They know shoulder shrugs. Like, I don't care. Whatever you want. They seem like very passive creatures.
Yeah.
So that
that's
is how Harry and the Hendersons ends. Jamie, what were your thoughts on Harry and the Hendersons?
Listen, like you, we watched this movie while traveling, preparing, so I watched it on an airplane. I loved it. I liked it.
Loved it.
I liked it as a kid, and I liked it again as an adult. And I again, watching it on a plane, knowing what our destination was going to be, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
That's
and
right.
I have to tell you, I really enjoyed John Lithgow, and he was really, really fun in it. And even Nan, I don't know what else she's done or what else she's been in, but she was the perfect mom in the movie. And
I really thought that the cast, I wasn't crazy about Ernie.
you could have done without Ernie. I
don't like kids like that. It's a good thing I didn't have some nerdy kid like
Yeah.
that kid, or the one in whatever that movie was, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, yeah.
I would lose it.
Yeah,
I'd
not
have to
your
hate my
jam.
own child, and I would not want to do
no
that.
one wants that for you.
Um,
You did not?
I'm not going to say it's bad, because it's not bad.
No.
It's one of those ones where I wish that I'd watched it with my kids.
Oh,
I think that they really would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised with how bland it felt for very long stretches.
Yeah.
It felt long. Now, again, watching on a laptop in an airport is probably not an ideal scenario for this. There were just people moving around me. My wife was bored that I was watching a movie.
Oh,
I'm like, I gotta get this done.
I gotta watch this. Yeah, we gotta talk about it.
The airplane's gonna land soon. I'm not taking time out of a vacation to do this.
No, right.
Yeah, I wasn't. I remember even when I was younger watching it many times, but never really loving it. It was just a movie, and that's what it felt like, just a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's what I kind of expected. Like, I didn't expect for this to knock my socks off. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't my... I'm not going to watch it
So you're
again.
like medium.
Yeah,
You're
medium.
like medium.
Very
Okay.
medium.
Do you
Yeah.
have a recommendation?
I do.
Okay.
It's a mid-50s Hitchcock movie
fun.
called The Trouble with Harry.
Oh, and is he a Sasquatch?
He's a Sasquatch.
Oh, wow.
Very
Okay, yeah.
strange.
Nice ties there,
It's
yeah.
not a great Hitchcock movie. It's sort of like a love story / murder mystery. Like a guy is found dead, like on the hillside, like in the woods in this town. And then people in the town try and figure out who did it. But that is weirdly like secondary. It's about the four characters trying to figure out who did it. It's like a young man and a young woman, and they fall in love. And then an older guy and an older woman, and they fall in love.
Gotcha.
It's not a great one. Like, the best part of the movie is early on because it's all these people like almost finding the dead body, but like a couple goes and does a picnic like right next to where the dead body is. A guy walks through the woods reading a book but never looking down and trips several times over a dead body and keeps walking. Like it's a goofy, it's a strange comedy, and Hitchcock doesn't do that much comedy in his work. Yeah. It's a pairing. It's a good double feature.
I can see a little double feature action. Yeah. I have to be honest with you. I enjoyed it to the point where I didn't think about a recommendation. Lots of times the recommendation to me is like, what would I would have liked to watch instead?
Sure.
And it didn't leave me feeling that way. I'm glad I watched Harry and the Hendersons.
Like, I want to watch the TV show now?
I think you should go outside and commune with nature after you watch Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I'm saying,
go to the studio. No, I'm talking to our listeners. That's my recommendation. I think when we planned on, when we were coming out here, we wanted to do an outdoor movie, and one of my recommendations was The Great Outdoors.
Yes.
Maybe, but that's another 80s movie with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd. But that's another 80s movie that maybe we'll cover at some point. So I don't want to...
That doesn't mean you can't tell people to watch it.
Okay.
Watch it in preparation in case in about 5 years we get to it.
That's what this movie, I guess, reminded me of.
Okay. So anyway, 2 weeks from today is National Businesswomen's Day.
Ooh.
So we're going to watch Working Girl, which I always thought was a movie about Melanie Griffith as a prostitute.
But nah.
Who becomes like a corporate executive. What's the movie where she's a prostitute and the kids pay her to like have sex with their dad or something? Candy.
Her name is Candy, I feel like, in that movie.
Right, don't they pay her to have sex with Ed Harris?
Yeah,
dad,
I think they do.
Or show them her boobs or something, and then they give her more money to date their dad.
Yeah,
and it's not that movie.
It's not that movie, no.
We got Harrison Ford, we got Sigourney Weaver.
Fun.
We've never seen a Weaver yet.
I'm excited.
Or Melanie Griffith.
This is going to be a good one.
That's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we hope that you guys enjoyed this on-location, face-to-face episode.
It is, yeah. We are live together.
Yeah. And we don't know when the next time this is going to happen.
No.
What did we say, 3 years?
3 years. 2020, did we say?
2020. And wherever we go, write in your suggestions on where we should take a vacation, because then we will choose a movie based on that
location. I like it. That'll work, too.
And if you get chosen, we'll mention you.
You can't come with us, though.
No.
It's really a more private kind of an affair. Yeah.
We're not even letting our spouses watch this. They don't want to. Yes. My wife's still trying to pretend she can't hear us.
She was like, I can't believe.
It's like, I'm out of here. This is ridiculous. All right, everybody, then we will talk to you in 2 weeks.
Ciao.
You touched my life and turned my heart around. It seems when I found you, it was me I really found. You opened my eyes, and now my soul can see. A moment may be over, but you're still here with me. This love had a song. I love